Nobody is sitting down right now. For good reason. We have not only world champions of the past, world champions of the past, we have world champions of the present. Where's the skills in the building?
On December 14th, things got heated in New York when Jake Paul and Andrew Tate crossed paths. The city had been buzzing for months, and tension between the two was building. They didn't plan to run into each other, but when they did, Jake couldn't resist throwing some over-the-top insults at Andrew. And just as Andrew had warned, things quickly spiraled into chaos.
It's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters who would...
Jake Paul has built his career by stirring the pot, whether it's calling out legends like Mike Tyson or picking fights with opponents that help maintain his undefeated record. But what went down on December 14th was different. This wasn't just another challenge. Andrew Tate, with his $710 million fortune and four-time kickboxing world champion title, stepped up to Jake on a crowded street like he had something to prove. And prove it, he did.
Send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Fucking Google it if you want to know more. Any day, anytime.
For anyone who might not know, Andrew Tate isn't the type to do things half-heartedly. This wasn't just a casual encounter or a quick Twitter jab. Andrew approached Jake Paul in the middle of a busy street, with fans and phones ready to capture every moment of what could only be called a public reality check. And let's just say, Jake's usual confidence faded fast. If his confidence had a volume knob, someone definitely turned it all the way down.
Who wants to do my work?
Come on, fight.
Come on, 20 seconds to work. Let's go. Come on, work. Good. Work. 10 seconds. Work.
Jake Paul is known for his confidence. It's his signature move. Whether he's trash-talking opponents or showing off for his 20 million followers, that confidence is what drives his fights and keeps his brand going. But in that moment, confidence was completely absent. Andrew Tate wasn't just some random person Jake could brush off with a smart remark. He wasn't one of those carefully chosen opponents Jake's team picked to make him look good. No, this was Andrew Tate.
Yeah, he'll never do that, though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And two,
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might.
And it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul and will never.
You could see it in Jake's body language. Andrew Tate didn't need to shout or throw a punch. His presence alone, calm and confident, did all the talking. Jake, who's usually quick with a comeback and never backs down from a fight, looked completely out of his element. When the guy known for his loud mouth has nothing to say, you know it's serious. This wasn't some spontaneous moment. Tate had been planning this for months. Jake Paul made a name for himself by calling out legends, most of whom are way past their prime, while avoiding true threats. Tate saw right through that. As someone who's dedicated his life to combat sports, watching Jake pick easy fights must have been frustrating. Calling Tate a washed-up fighter was the last straw. Tate didn't approach Jake for clout. He didn't need it. It wasn't about money either, since Tate's bank account is already full. What he wanted was simple, to make a point. Respect for combat sports isn't about social media followers or trash talk, it's about proving yourself against real competition. And that's something Jake's been dodging. Tate wasn't there to mess around. He was there to remind Jake what real respect looks like.
Some of these crossover fights, obviously I know that you and Jake Paul have had your disagreements. Do you think that Jake's gotten better as a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins. And he makes money. So he's doing his thing, you know.
December 14th started like any other day, until it didn't. On a crowded street, with fans and onlookers forming a circle, Andrew Tate made his move. Phones were out, cameras were rolling, and within minutes, the footage was everywhere. The hashtag #TateBar and #JPaulExposed started trending. If you think this was all for show, think again. This wasn't some staged publicity stunt cooked up by PR teams. The tension between them was real. You could see it in the way Jake tried, and failed, to get his usual composure back. His typical go-to tactics, sarcastic remarks, forced laughs, and that smirk, weren't working. This wasn't a roast battle or a promotional event. Andrew Tate was sending a very clear message in a very public way. Jake Paul's entire persona has been built around the idea that he's untouchable, the underdog who always proves his critics wrong. But when Andrew Tate stood in front of him, all that bravado disappeared. Why? Because this was different.
Two brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men.
Tate didn't need to do much. His sheer presence was enough. With his towering physique and years of experience as a kickboxing world champion, Tate didn't need to shout or put on a show. Jake, on the other hand, was visibly rattled. He tried to clap back, of course, because that's what Jake does, but this time, his words didn't land. This wasn't a situation he could talk his way out of. As soon as the footage hit the internet, Jake's ego took a serious hit. Within hours, memes flooded Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Jake's attempts to save face couldn't keep up with the internet's creativity. From comparing him to a kid being scolded by his dad, to straight up mocking his tough guy image, social media had a blast. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate's fanbase exploded overnight. Even people who weren't diehard Tate supporters couldn't help but respect his presence and what he stood for.
That's delusion. I'm sorry.
beef.
Look, Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. I'm sorry, Tristan Tate is a weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight on your hands.
That would go crazy.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. No, seriously.
I'm
let's
about
do
the
it.
action. Like I'm less talk now. Let's just fucking go.
Yo, but you know for a fact, me and Jake will travel to Romania.
There you go.
We will make this happen. We'll do it wherever you want, whatever conditions.
The debate quickly sparked up. Was Tate right for calling Jake out so publicly, or was this just another case of two big personalities clashing for attention? Regardless of which side you were on, one thing was clear. This wasn't something that was going to blow over anytime soon.
You lose to an old man who's retired. I live in the real fucking world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real fucking world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport and don't have a fucking fraction of the money you have because you managed to become a fucking clown.
This wasn't just a confrontation between two people, it was a clash of two very different mindsets. Jake Paul represents the new era of combat sports, where clout and social media buzz often take priority over skill. For Jake, the fights are less about proving himself as a boxer and more about creating viral moments. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, comes from the old school. He believes respect is earned in the ring, not through online fame. For Tate, this wasn't just about Jake Paul, it was about what Jake represents, a shift in combat sports that values spectacle over substance. By confronting Jake, Tate wasn't just standing up for himself, he was standing up for an entire generation of fighters who've spent their lives dedicated to the sport.
Come on, fight.
Come on, 3 seconds to walk. Let's go.
In the days after the confrontation, the internet was buzzing even more. Fans were already wondering if a fight between Jake Paul and Andrew Tate would actually happen. Would Jake step into the ring with Tate, or would he keep avoiding real competition? The media didn't help, running headlines like Andrew Tate humiliates Jake Paul, only adding fuel to the fire.
You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck.
For Jake, the fallout was tough. His image took a serious hit, and his critics were louder than ever. For Tate, though, it was a win on multiple fronts. He gained respect and more exposure. He didn't just call Jake out, he backed up everything he's been saying about respect and authenticity in the world of combat sports.